Hello everyone, what's up? Prince 1215 here with another review of The Bad Batch. Today we're taking a look at the latest episode, Juggernaut. I really enjoyed this episode for totally personal reasons. And that is because in my top 3 Star Wars vehicles, 1 is the Republic gunship, and I think 2 is the turbo tank. The turbo tank is just awesome. It shows up for all of about 3 seconds in Revenge of the Sith, refuses to elaborate, shoots some missiles, leaves. You don't hear from it again in Star Wars for years in official canon until season 2 of Clone Wars. But despite that, boys, it's just cool. It's just cool. It's one of the few vehicles in Star Wars to have wheels. It's massive. It has guns everywhere. It can be driven from both ends, which was a controversial thing when I was younger, because I'm like, wow, which side is the front? And both ends are the front, if you want them to be, and yeah, it's just super cool. It's one of the few Star Wars vehicles that I actually have multiple Lego versions of. I've really, with the exception of like battle packs and stuff, I really try to limit myself. It's like, okay, I have a version of this vehicle now. I'm content. I'm happy. But there's just something about the turbo tank where in 2016 when that version came out, I had to go, okay, yeah, let's get it. And so I have that one and the original turbo tank from 2005. So it's one of those things I always look over at my shelf and I go, they look so good together. It's like one's obviously a little larger because it's a older set, but so yeah, no, I love the turbo tank. So the fact that they incorporated the turbo tank into action sequences here was really cool. Downside being, I feel like it went quick. I think I need to double check, but this episode didn't even feel like it was 22 minutes. If this was 22 minutes, it was a fast 22 minutes. This episode moved by at a clip. And I would have loved a much longer scene with the turbo tank. Like maybe have them chase each other or something instead of, and it's like, granted, what they did show was pretty awesome. So maybe the reason it was so abbreviated is because they ran up the budget with all the stuff they were doing. It's like you had to build this whole new set with the big bridge across the chasm. You had to invent the doors and the barricades that slowly move into place to try to block them. The turbo tank just plows through them anyway. It's like, there's no stopping me. Then they take out the wheels of the other turbo tank coming the other direction. It collapses to a degree where it then serves as a ramp, which then propels our heroes into the air, where they then land on the ground and smash through yet another barricade. I mean, it's just so awesome. I mean, come on. It's like whoever came up with this in the writer's room, whoever said, all right, there is one thing I want to do this season, and I am not leaving this room until I get the green light to do it, is I want to have an action sequence where 2 turbo tanks fight each other. And they probably went, yeah, we can do that. And it's like, all right, I'm happy, I'm satiated. So whoever that person is on the writing team, I don't know if it was the person that actually wrote this episode or if that was the lead writer's idea, then Pat or what, but but I want to shake their hand. It's like, thank you for making this an episode. This was amazing. so yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Because of that, and thankfully I had more going on than it just being like I said, it feels like a very fast episode, but I had a little bit more going on than just being a big fan service episode for me. For instance, I did find it nice that it did immediately pick up where we left off last episode, where we arrive on Tantus and the clone assassin drops off Omega to Hemlock. And we get just a little tiny bit of her in this episode. There was a really good line where Dr. Emery says, well, at least you're safe. And she's like, am I? It's like, yeah, that's a good question. Are you? I thought seeing Dr. Emery was very interesting in this episode because she's definitely still kind of playing along and following orders, but I'm not so totally sure that she's really on board with what she's doing anymore. I think she just doesn't see a way out. So she's just kind of continuing along with what's going on. So they're definitely pivoting, but positioning her to be a helpful ally once, the inevitable big rescue episode comes, which I was assuming is going to be the finale. Because the in prior episodes, she wouldn't have necessarily had an issue with immediately testing Omega. I don't think. I think she would have went, all right, let's draw your blood sample and everything. But now, after having dealt with these kids in the vault and everything, I think she's a little more wary and trepidatious. Also, I'm a little surprised that Nala Se is still alive. But I guess she still has some knowledge that they think they can probably get out of her, because it's like Hemlock doesn't seem the type to just let people sit and stew in a cell if they don't have some sort of value. He's got all those other clones there that they're obviously using as living lab rats. Same with the kids in the vault. So I am curious what further assistance Nala Se could provide him, because he said plainly, it's like, well, she can't be trusted, which is why she's in a cell, and she won't be helping you with any more escape attempts. But that could be something like they're holding for like next episode, which like I could totally see them like killing her in front of Omega to make a point. It's like, all right, you're here now. Don't try anything. Because last time they sort of kind of tried to do that with Batcher and Crosshair to an extent, where Hemlock threatened to do something to him. So this time I think they're going to need to do something drastic. And so probably good call that it's probably, it's probably going to be Nala Se on the chopping block if I had to take a guess for that. But we'll see. So Fee is back. Her ship's very interesting. It really feels like they cobbled together random bits of different assets from ships they had in their animation folders for all the different assets they had, because the back clearly looks like it was taken from Imperial shuttle with the tri-wing formation, like the typical the Lambda class shuttles. But then the front end of it, at least from the back, almost looks like those cargo haulers, the really big kind of weird triangular ones that the Empire has. And then there's all the stacks of crates attached to the back. Kind of reminds me of one of those. So it's very interesting exterior design, and then the interior almost looks like they just kind of took the interior of the Ghost and then just kind of cut some rooms and moved some things around, because the little cushion area the seating area with the cushions, that looks similar to what's going on in the Ghost, but obviously modified heavily. But very interesting ship design. I don't know if we've seen it before. I mean, I guess we have, maybe, because like, did they use her ship when they went to Scaranal back in season 2, or did they take the Marauder, rest in peace? I can't remember. It's been too long. But so if we have seen her ship before, then I totally forgot about it, and I'm just now noticing, oh yeah, that's a really kind of interesting ship design. So then let's see here. Rampart, I think this is kind of the big thing about the episode, is that he's a returning character. And kind of, he's one of two characters that I've kind of been sitting here scratching my head so far this season going, all right, where is this guy? Where is this character? Because he was such a large presence in the first 2 seasons that him just being absent. And I think I Did I mention this in a review, or did I just think it to myself? I can't remember if I actually mentioned it or not. But I was curious earlier in the season where it's like, well, I guess Rampart's just done with, and we're not going to see any more of him, and it's just Hemlock from here on out. Which if we never saw Rampart again, I would have been fine with, honestly, because I like Hemlock way more as a villain than Rampart. But having there been no mention of him prior to now and stuff, I'm like, I'm kind of curious about where this guy went. There's not even a mention of him as like a, it's like, oh, you want to make sure to follow the Empire, or else you'll turn out like Admiral Rampart. There wasn't even really a mention like that. So, him showing back up is good. I think it makes sense for the plot. I do like how disheveled he looks now, where where he was used to the nice cushy office job, and now he's been forced to work in the grimy bowels of that factory or whatever. Then the other character I'm still kind of waiting to show up is Sid. Because I'm sorry, I guess I either just completely misread the situation with Sid, or they had to write her out of the show for some reason and leave that story arc unfinished, or, well, no, I guess there is no or after that. It's either we're done with her, and I just totally misread where they were going with that story, or they had to. No, there was another or they had to write her out for some reason, and so they didn't get to do everything they wanted to do with her. And this was the third or she is going to show up in the next couple episodes. That's what the other or was, like a walrus or. That was lame. I'm sorry. Because I mean, it's like I just feel like a lot of season 2 was building up to the you can't trust Sid, you can't trust Sid, you can't trust Sid. Where meanwhile, I felt season 1 was very much building her up to going, yeah, she's a little rough around the edges, but overall you can trust her, and she trusts you, and you guys trust her, and so it's like you may butt heads every now and then, but she's someone that can be trusted. Then season 2 kind of went the opposite direction. But even then, at the end, she seemed really distraught over having chosen to betray the Bad Batch and sell them out to the Empire. So I'm just like, you guys, that's not how you leave it with her, is it? Is it? I mean, I still feel like they need to bring her back and finish that up. Because it's like she was so prevalent in the first 2 seasons. Even more, I mean, Rampart was the villain, so of course he was in it a lot. But Sid was always in episodes, giving them tasks. I mean, she really was kind of the kicking off point for a lot of episodes. She's like, I need to go do this, I need to go do that, etc., etc. And it's like, I don't know, I just felt like there were a couple episodes where we spent just enough time getting to know her where it's like, yeah, she's trustworthy ultimately. So I am really curious if this is going to be a Lando Calrissian moment where she's betrayed the Bad Batch in the second season, and then she's going to come in and save the day here at the end of the third. Like, they're going to need all the help they can get to break into Tantus. So now they have Rampart, and they're going to go after Sid, going, you owe us, basically, for what you did. And she's going to kind of happily help out. Now we did get like a little brief mention of her last week whenever the clone assassin was reporting in, saying that, I talked to the Trandoshan, she gave up the pirate or whatever. So it's like, maybe that was as much as we're going to get. I just don't know. I just feel like no Sid appearance at all this season is just going to be weird after her having been, because now if they killed her off or something, then I don't think it's weird. But they didn't kill her off. They clearly left her alive on Ord Mantell. So I feel like to bring this all to a close, wrap it all up, you got to bring her back somehow, and more than just a little quick reference. So, because they're doing that with Rampart, and that's what I've been questioning, last couple weeks. Like, I wonder if they're going to do anything with Rampart. Seems like they need to touch on him at least a little bit. So, now maybe this would be funny, is that he's like, okay, well, in order to get these coordinates, we need someone who knows how to do this or that. And then the batch is going to be like, we know who can do this or that, and they have to go to Sid. And that's how it all ties back together. So maybe I'm being a little prophetic here, and that's how it's going to work. I don't know, but yeah, no, I'm liking where this is all headed, and I'm eagerly awaiting next week's episode. So yeah, I think that'll about do it. So thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.